The devil, despite his cunning and power, is not without limitations. There are certain things that even he cannot do, no matter how hard he tries. First, he cannot create life. He may tempt, corrupt, and manipulate, but the breath of life is something beyond his reach. Only the Creator has the power to form living beings from nothing. Even with all his knowledge of darkness, the devil cannot manufacture the spark of life that resides in each soul. Another thing the devil cannot do is force anyone to act against their will. He can whisper lies and cast shadows over a person's mind, but he cannot control their choices. Free will is a gift too powerful for him to wield. He can influence, but he cannot compel. A person may be led astray, but it is their decision to follow the path. Furthermore, he cannot change the past. The devil can try to rewrite history in the minds of those who follow him, twisting their perception of what has already happened, but the truth remains immutable. No matter how many illusions he casts, the events of yesterday cannot be undone. The devil cannot truly love. His heart is filled with hatred and resentment, a void where love should reside. He can imitate affection or loyalty, but his emotions are shallow and hollow, incapable of the warmth and sacrifice that true love entails. His love is a lie, a weapon to deceive, not a gift to cherish. He also cannot destroy the light. No matter how much darkness he spreads, light will always exist. It may flicker or dim for a while, but it cannot be completely extinguished. Even in the deepest shadows, the smallest spark can ignite a fire that pushes back the dark. The devil cannot change a person's destiny. He may attempt to distract, deter, or confuse, but the path set by a higher power is unalterable. No matter how he might attempt to lure a soul off course, the destination remains as planned. There are forces beyond his understanding that guide the flow of life. What he also cannot do is escape the consequences of his own actions. He may seem untouchable, but the devil is bound by the same rules that govern all beings. His time is limited, and his power will eventually fade. His rebellion has set him on a path toward eventual defeat, one he cannot avoid, no matter how much he tries to delay it. The devil cannot create true peace. He thrives on chaos and strife, feeding off of fear, anger, and division. The concept of harmony, unity, and contentment is alien to him. Peace, born from love, understanding, and patience, is beyond his grasp. Where he goes, conflict follows. He also cannot see into the hearts of all people. While he may be able to read the signs of a person's thoughts or manipulate emotions, the true depth of a human soul remains hidden to him. There is a mystery within each heart that even the devil cannot fathom. Lastly, the devil cannot stand alone. He is a being defined by opposition, by the forces that oppose him. Without the light, without the good, without the creation of the world, his existence would have no purpose. He needs the very thing he fights against to define his being, a paradox he cannot escape. The devil's power, while vast, is finite, and in his pride, he believes that one day, he will overturn these limits. He imagines that there must be a way to break free, to defy the rules that bind him. Yet every time he thinks he has found a loophole, another truth appears before him, reminding him of his place in the grand design. The cycle of his struggle continues. Each day, he tries again, each time with a different approach, convinced that he might outwit the very fabric of reality itself. But as much as he schemes and manipulates, there is one thing he can never change: the inevitable defeat awaiting him. Yet, as much as the devil cannot do, there is still one mystery that remains, one question that haunts him. If he cannot alter the future or control the hearts of men, if he cannot extinguish light or love, what, then, is his true purpose? What is it that he serves in this vast universe, where all things are already in motion? For now, he continues his endless pursuit, his desire to challenge the inevitable. But deep down, beneath the layers of darkness and deceit, there is a flicker of doubt, a question without answer that lingers in the depths of his soul. Will he ever find a way to break free, or is he forever trapped in the role he has chosen for himself? And as this thought rages within him, another force stirs in the far reaches of the cosmos, watching and waiting. In the vast expanse of existence, beyond the reaches of time and space, a subtle force shifted, a quiet whisper among the winds of fate. The devil, ever consumed by his unrelenting desire to break free from his constraints, was unaware of the movement that was taking place beyond his perception. This force was not born of light or darkness, but something entirely different, something that neither the devil nor any being of his kind could truly comprehend. It was not a being of power, but of patience. It existed outside the struggle between good and evil, between creation and destruction. This force, like the stillness between breaths, was a mystery, a quiet observer of the chaos that the devil perpetually stirred. It had been watching for eons, waiting for the moment when the devil, in all his pride and despair, might finally reach the limits of his understanding. For every force there is a counterforce, and for every action, a reaction. The devil, in his relentless pursuit to understand the bounds of his own existence, had inadvertently drawn the attention of something that had never before been seen by those like him. A force that existed not to oppose or to ally, but to simply observe, to maintain the balance. As the devil raged against his limitations, often growing angrier with each failed attempt to surpass the rules of existence, this silent force quietly whispered its influence into the dark recesses of his mind. At first, the devil thought it was merely another illusion, another trick of the light. But the whisper persisted, growing ever so faint, like the softest ripple on the surface of an otherwise still pond. This force didn't demand anything from him, nor did it offer promises of escape or power. It simply existed, a silent reminder that there was more to the universe than what the devil could see. It spoke not in words, but in feelings, in emotions too subtle for him to grasp, yet undeniably present. It was then, during one of his many moments of solitude, when the devil stood alone in the darkest corner of his mind, brooding over his many failures, that he felt it, an unexpected shift, a quiet yet profound sensation that washed over him like a forgotten dream. For the first time in countless ages, the devil hesitated. He had spent so long fighting, so long attempting to defy everything that sought to constrain him, that he had never once considered the possibility of surrender. But now, in the presence of this strange, ethereal influence, he found himself uncertain. What if his struggle was not the path to victory? What if there was something he was missing? Something that existed beyond the endless battle for power and control? The thought unsettled him, for it was the first time in his eternal existence that he felt vulnerable, unsure of his next move. He had always prided himself on knowing the game, on understanding the rules of life and death, creation and destruction. But now, there was a force he could not comprehend, one that held no power over him, yet seemed to move everything around him, leaving him adrift in the current of its subtle pull. It was at that moment, when his doubt was at its peak, that a shadow began to form on the horizon. A new presence, unlike any he had encountered before, began to take shape. Unlike the beings of light he had opposed or the dark forces that had once been his allies, this entity did not stand against him. It simply was, like the force that had been whispering in his mind, neither friend nor foe, but something far older and deeper. The devil, though powerful, could feel a stirring unease deep within. This new force was not like the ones he had battled before. It was not here to challenge him, nor to offer him a way out of his eternal struggle. It was here to remind him of something he had long forgotten, that there was a vast expanse of existence beyond his limited understanding. As the entity took form before him, the devil felt his pride waver. This was not an adversary to defeat. This was something beyond the rules he had always clung to, something beyond even his own ability to comprehend. The force did not speak, but in its silent presence, the devil felt something that he had long believed to be lost: awe. For the first time in his existence, he was faced with the realization that there were things far beyond his understanding, forces that moved through the fabric of reality in ways that defied even his most intricate schemes. The entity before him did not offer answers, nor did it demand anything from him. It simply existed, timeless and eternal, like a star whose light had long since faded, but whose presence still lingered in the heavens. And in that quiet, humbling moment, the devil began to understand something profound. The struggle, the endless pursuit of power, the defiance of limits, it was all a reflection of his own fear. Fear that there was something greater than him, something that could not be controlled, bent, or understood. As the entity faded into the stillness, leaving the devil alone once more, he felt the weight of this realization settle within him. He was no longer alone in his endless fight, for there were forces at play far beyond his reach. And for the first time, he wondered if his rebellion, his pride, was truly worth it. But even in this moment of clarity, something stirred deep within him, something that refused to let go. The devil, despite his newfound awareness, could not simply abandon the fight. He could not relinquish the power he had so long fought for. If you feel like to support the Believer's Mission channel in its mission to touch lives and help everyone gain a deeper understanding of God's Word, we invite you to contribute. Your support, no matter the amount, will go a long way in spreading messages of hope, faith, and light to the world. Kindly message this contact on WhatsApp to offer your support. As you support this channel in its work of sharing the gospel, know that God will never tire of surprising you with unlimited blessings. Just as you've helped bring light to others, God will bring His divine light into your job, business, career, and every area of your life. Claim this promise in faith and receive His favor. Amen. The devil, despite the unsettling encounter with the silent force, could not let go of the pride that had defined his existence for eons. His thoughts churned, restless, as if trying to ignore the gnawing realization that had begun to take root in the darkest corners of his mind. The silent entity had shown him a glimpse of something beyond the endless struggle, but the devil's nature, his insatiable hunger for power, his refusal to be humbled, kept him bound to his mission, ever determined to defy the order of things. He found himself standing once more in the void, the landscape of his mind an endless abyss. But now, the shadows felt different, darker, more oppressive, as if something had shifted in the very fabric of his being. The force that had whispered to him, that had made him question his path, was gone. The devil's pride, however, remained, and with it, the relentless desire to break the chains that bound him. Yet, as time stretched on, something else began to happen, something the devil could neither deny nor control. The universe continued, indifferent to his struggle. Life persisted, the light flickered in hidden corners, and, for reasons he couldn't grasp, people still found moments of love, of peace, of meaning. The devil could not understand it. In all his attempts to control and destroy, he had failed to eradicate the essence of creation itself. The world continued to turn, and something within him began to tremble, something deep and primal. One day, as he stood in the center of the void, feeling the weight of his eternal pursuit, a thought arose, an impossible, fleeting thought that took him by surprise. What if I stopped? What if, for once, he didn't fight? What if he let go of the hunger for control and simply existed? For a moment, the devil stood still, contemplating this idea. His mind, usually a storm of strategies and deceptions, grew quiet. The eternal conflict that had defined him for so long seemed distant, like a memory he could no longer fully recall. Could he really release the chains of his own making? Could he truly abandon the relentless pursuit that had consumed him for so long? But before he could explore this possibility further, the void around him began to shift again. A presence, a powerful, familiar force, began to materialize in the distance. This time, it was not a whisper, nor a shadow, but something far more concrete. It was the force of destiny itself, the force that had quietly guided the universe, unseen and unnoticed by all who lived in defiance of it. The devil felt a pang of recognition. He had encountered this force before, in glimpses, in moments of doubt. It was the same force that had shown him that he was not all-powerful, that he could not control every aspect of existence. It was the same force that had quietly observed him, waiting for the right moment. But now, it had come to him, no longer distant but standing before him. The devil knew this was no ordinary entity. This was the force that had shaped creation, the force that could not be manipulated, the force that even he, in all his might, could not defeat. The devil's gaze met the presence before him, and for the first time in all his endless rebellion, he felt something else stir within him, not pride, not defiance, but something he had long buried: humility. It wasn't a humility born of weakness or defeat, but of understanding. He saw, with crystal clarity, the vastness of existence, the intricate balance between light and dark, between creation and destruction. And he saw that his rebellion, his endless pursuit to break the boundaries of existence, had been but a small, fragile thing in comparison. The presence spoke, but not in words. The communication was something deeper, something felt rather than heard. You have sought to defy me, it seemed to say. But in your defiance, you have learned. The struggle has shaped you. You are not the same as you once were. The devil stood in silence, his heart heavy. In that moment, he understood. His endless battle had not been in vain, for it had led him to this moment of revelation. But there was no escape from the truth. His time had come. His struggle was over. There was nothing left for him to defy. The entity, the force that had always been, took a step forward, and in that instant, the devil felt the weight of his existence begin to lift. The chains that had bound him for eons were no longer needed. The endless cycle of defiance, rebellion, and suffering came to an end. The devil, in the final moment of his existence, surrendered, not out of weakness, but out of understanding. He had spent all eternity fighting against the universe's design, only to realize that he was a part of it. His rebellion, his pride, had been but a chapter in a greater story, a story of balance and harmony that he could never fully comprehend. As the presence enveloped him, the void around him dissolved, and he was no longer alone. No longer the defiant, rebellious being he had once been, he was simply a part of the whole, a whole he had spent so long trying to break free from, only to discover it was where he truly belonged. And with that final realization, the devil ceased to exist as he once had. The struggle was over. The universe, in its quiet, eternal way, continued to unfold. We've gotten to the end of this video. If you know you believe the devil have no place in your life and he can't do anything in your life, kindly like, subscribe and comment I believe in God. God bless you.